Hey everybody, it is just post-fight Tyron Woodley, Gilbert Burns. I want to get my thoughts down, get something up tonight. Anyway, going over my picks, my thoughts on the card itself, how everything went, and here it is. Did pretty well with my picks. In fact, I hit all of them. Sweet. Anyway, let's start at the bottom of the card. And it was Mackenzie Dern, Hannah Cifers. This was like my lock of the night. If there was one fight I had to pick that would go the way I thought it would, if I had to put my house on it, it would have been Mackenzie Dern over Hannah Cifers by submission early, and that's exactly what happened. With the knee bar, man, a couple more inches and Cifers would have been out. She was right on the kneecap. I actually thought she was a little too low on the leg to get it, and it turns out she was just enough there to get it, and she does. And I was reading, it's the first leg lock finish in women's UFC history. So congratulations to Mackenzie Dern. She gets back on track. I thought Cifers did all right in the beginning. Very, very aggressive. I didn't really expect that. You don't want to play into the grappler by walking toward him and giving him an easy takedown, but Cifers didn't seem concerned about that. Mackenzie Dern, though, on her back, rolled up. Beautiful leg lock roll, went to the knee bar, and beautiful stuff. She has a ground game that's going to be hard to beat for just about anyone. If you can't keep it on the feet, you're going to have trouble with Mackenzie Dern. And Hannah Cifers did everything she could, ended up on the ground, and that was it. Roosevelt Roberts over Brock Weaver. I called this one as well. I thought it would be Roberts by submission, and that's what happened in round two. Brock Weaver did the best he could, man. Came forward, tried to give pressure, but Roosevelt Roberts wouldn't fall for any of the takedowns. Accurate on the feet. Brock Weaver was a little bit slower. Roosevelt Roberts was able to take him apart. And once he was able to establish position in the second round, when he was able to take the bag, go to full mount and this stuff, that's when he really started wearing Weaver down, and you saw the difference, the skill disparity between Roosevelt Roberts and Brock Weaver. And that was really on the ground, and man, beautiful rear naked, hung on as long as he could. Got out of a tight one right before he tapped, but two in a row was too much for him. So Roosevelt Roberts by submission, which I thought. And then the next fight, Billy Quarantillo versus Spike Carlisle. This wasn't on the main card when I first called, made my picks. This was not on the main event, so I wasn't able to pick this one. Really entertaining fight. Really great. I don't know what Carlisle was doing at the end of round one. I watched it without the sound on, and he walked back to his corner too early for round one and just got cracked. That's the kind of fight, the kind of shot that can really put you down. If nothing else, Spike Carlisle has a hell of a chin because he took some big punches throughout this fight, especially that shot at the end of round one. And then before the final round, dude, oh my God, he was eating bomb after bomb. And that final exchange, throwing everything he had and taking big shots, and was able to stay on his feet. Impressive stuff, but unanimous decision win. Very, very exciting. Probably the most exciting fight. Well, one of the most exciting fights of the main card, if not the most exciting. Augusto Sakai versus Bloiganov. Very close fight. I picked Augusto Sakai. He won by split decision. Basically, Blagojevanov started off stronger than Augusto Sakai, and Augusto Sakai started catching up to him and overtook him in round three. So, split decision. And obviously, I didn't see the cards, but I imagine it was almost everybody gave Blagojevanov round one. Round two was kind of the split round, and then Augusto Sakai won round three. He just finished stronger, similar to the Derek Lewis fight, where Blagojevanov started off strong but couldn't finish strong. Augusto Sakai, an athletic heavyweight with good movement, and was able to kind of stick with the leg kicks and enough accuracy and movement to pick Blagojevanov apart late in the fight. Wasn't working early, and also the smaller octagon, I think, worked in the favor early of Blagojevanov. He seemed to corner Sakai easily, put him against the fence easily. Sakai didn't have a lot of room to move. He's a heavyweight who likes to move a lot. And I thought Blagoy took advantage and kept his fight in boxing range in round one, part of round two, and started wearing down in round three. So Augusto Sakai gets a great win decision over Blagojevanov, and he moves up. Tyron Woodley, Gilbert Burns. Ugh. Once again, I thought that anything less than a really sharp and prepared Tyron Woodley and mentally focused would lose to Gilbert Burns. And Tyron Woodley looked flat. I really thought he looked like a spent force tonight, where he seemed to want to counter. He seemed hesitant. He didn't seem that fast. He didn't seem super sharp. It seemed like a little of that athleticism is gone, and that really cost us. Takedown wasn't there. Gilbert Burns knocks him down, cuts him, and gets full mount 30 seconds into the first round. Yeah, he made it out of round one. Round one to me was a 10-8 for Gilbert Burns, but like, it doesn't start off a whole lot worse for Tyron Woodley than the way the first round started off against Gilbert. He was just owning him. And then after that, Tyron Woodley kept kind of waiting and trying to counterpunch. When he would land right hands, he landed a few in the second round, he landed a few in the fifth round. They just didn't seem to affect Burns. The power didn't seem to be there. And the way he was holding his hands, kind of the Roy Jones thing, hands kind of out here and kind of the bolo punches and stuff. And then he was getting hit with the left hook over and over again. It's like you can't hold your hands like that and drop them and mug unless you can see punches coming. You can't Roy Jones a guy unless you have crazy speed and awareness. And it didn't look like Tyron Woodley had those things anymore. Where he didn't quite look as fast, he couldn't read the punches as well, wasn't as dynamic, wasn't as explosive, and Gilbert Burns took full advantage. Looked sharp with the boxing, his wrestling was good in terms of the timing of his takedowns. Gas looked good. Hey, buddy. Everything looked good for Gilbert Burns, and Tyron Woodley did not look sharp. It reminded me a little bit, although not as bad, of Riddick Bowe against Andrew Galata in the 90s, where the first fight, people thought, well, he didn't take Galata seriously, he'll get in shape, he lost all his weight, and he still looked bad. He was just a spent force physically. And that's kind of what it reminded me of in terms of Kamaru Usman. We could go, he had a bad night. Maybe, his rap career wasn't that prepared for Kamaru Usman, didn't take him seriously, This second fight against Gilbert Burns, he didn't look like the same guy who won the title against Robbie Lawler. It just doesn't look like that guy is there anymore. Could Gilbert Burns get the next title shot? Maybe, because 170, a lot of stuff going on right now. The Masvidal fight just fell through for Kamaru Usman. Colby Covington leaving ATT. I don't know if he's ready to fight for a little bit. So it wouldn't surprise me if Gilbert Burns was the next one in line. Tyron Woodley, I don't see him doing anything at the elite level anymore, meaning title contenders, that kind of thing. Still a dangerous guy if he's a gatekeeper taking on mid-level guys, but man, he did not look sharp tonight. It really looked like being 38 years old, the number of wars he's gone through. I went over last time all the great fights he's been through against all these great fighters. That takes a toll. You can only do that so many times. You only do that for so long. And I feel like with Tyron Woodley tonight, what we saw was a guy whose athleticism isn't quite there anymore. He just isn't quite as quick, isn't quite as explosive, and relies on it in certain positions and in certain instances. And his striking style, we saw, was one that relies on countering and his ability to see punches coming. And one thing he was not doing tonight was effectively seeing punches coming. He felt for the leg kick a lot. Every time it landed, knocked him right off balance. He would kind of do this half turn and would take that leg out from under him. And the left hook was hitting him all day. Couldn't read that at all. And when he did have success, punches that I think earlier in his career really would have stunned or hurt Gilbert Burns didn't do anything at all to him. So it's one of those things where you wonder what he has to fall back on tactically speaking. Meaning, not that he's can't fight at all, or that he should retire now. I mean, he could, but not that he doesn't have anything to offer. But guys who have a little bit of a looser, wide open style with their striking, once they lose the ability to read punches coming, it all falls apart. They don't have the fundamentals to kind of fall back on. And that's going to be the issue. He should have been able to take Gilbert Burns down at will with his wrestling background. Now, he didn't go for a lot of takedowns. I think he respected the ground game of Gilbert Burns, but at least when the striking wasn't going his way, you'd think he might go for that late in rounds. Use his fight IQ. I'm losing these rounds, but if I can throw a good combination, get a takedown with maybe a minute left, and stall, maybe ice the round in the eyes of the judges. We didn't see that either. So it's a streaking Gilbert Burns taking on a Tyron Woodley, who at 38, I think, has the wars have just caught up with him. I really believe that. So I got all the picks that I made: Mackenzie Dern, Roosevelt Roberts, Augusto Sakai, and Tyron Woodley. Good night for me, but we'll see what's next for Tyron Woodley. But sky's the limit right now for Gilbert Burns. Great performance for him. All right, thank you so much.